Hello, and welcome to Twin Peaking, where I show my friend Jay Kirsten Twin Peaks in order of my least favorite to favorite episodes, and we see if she can figure out what Twin Peaks is about. If you find yourself enjoying the show, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And that includes to Jay Kirsten at twitch.tv/JKIRSTYN. That'll also be in the description below. Without further ado, let's get started. Yeah, so this is the cold open. Because I wanted to tell a little story real quick. I know we're running late already, but so I went out and to go get, I've been getting donuts for breakfast, right?
Yeah.
For these viewings, right? For obvious reasons.
Yeah.
And then I went out to go get some, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get pie this time. I went out and got the pie, and I was like super early, it was like 8. It's almost 3 hours ago, and I got home and it's still frozen. Like it's still like frozen all the way through. Like we're not.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Aw, Sag. No pie for you today.
No. Well, later. I'll have pie later when it freezes eventually. Yeah. But yep. So that's where I'm at today as a person is right there. So
I see.
Yep. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm ready. I'm ready
All
to
right.
go.
Well then let's go.
Okay.
All right.
Yay.
Yay?
Yay.
This is one of the first times I've really heard you be less enthusiastic about. Oh no. Is my rating wrong? Is that what we're finding out right now?
I think we'll wait until we talk about it, but there's a reason why
yes, there is some stuff for me as well in this one. But yeah, before we get started into the actual dissection of it, what'd you think as a whole? Like we'll get into like the scene by scene breakdown, but overall thoughts, feelings?
I think it's a fine episode. Trying to go through my notes over here. I do like the pickup of the Wyndham Earl storyline.
Okay, that's interesting.
I'm a big fan of that. I also like how Hawk has a lot more speaking lines during this episode, so I'm a big fan of that. And the introduction of Annie to Cooper was interesting. That was a interesting little tidbit there. And we got more Catherine, which I enjoyed. Oh, Nadine was great. Nadine was great this episode too. I think a standout in this.
So some things you liked, some things you didn't. Overall, it sounds like it was a pretty middle of the line one for you, which is about what I feel like. A lot of stuff that we'll like and a lot of stuff we won't will be the tone for a while. In my opinion. But yeah. No. Okay. Good to know. So we can start going into the breakdown of the scenes. I figure, right? That's probably unless you had any passing thoughts on it beyond.
No. I think
that's what I figured because I figured the things you want to bring up will be brought up during the scenes.
Yes. Exactly. All right, the first scene here is poor Harry, sad face. That's what's on my notes.
I mean,
here.
It's a good description of the scene.
Yeah, the montage of Harry and Josie was incredible. Oh my god, my boy Harry! I forgot. His girlfriend is a doorknob now. Fuck.
I know. Just going around to all of the different antique stores touching doorknobs. I don't know. There's still ways to get off with sexy doorknobs, right?
That's true. There are people that are into that, I imagine.
Oh,
there are people that are into anything. Incredibly awkward at the beginning. Not a great way to start the episode, but you get the vibe of what's wrong with Harry and why he is the way that he is right now. And Hawk gives him breakfast, and that was very nice.
Yeah. I actually kind of like the see. Oh, I should before we get into it, I should have mentioned that this episode in IMDb is ranked 45. I rate it as 43, so it's still kind of in the ballpark, but I like this more than the typical person. So
I see,
yeah.
I see.
Gotcha. But yeah, as far as that goes, I actually kind of like the opening. Like it doesn't. It's new to Twin Peaks, especially from your experience. But like, it kind of had like a noir kind of thing that I'm a sucker for, and there's a lot of like noir references in Twin Peaks. So it just kind of, even though it was like a new way to present that aesthetic in the show, like I felt it kind of fit. I kind of, I thought it was like kind of. I'm not the biggest fan of that romance in the first place, but
yeah,
to get us to where Harry's at, and like I thought it's kind of stylish, it's kind of nice personally. So it's really interesting to hear that you didn't like it.
Yeah, I thought it was cheesy as hell, and I just imagine like if you're binging this in order, if you're binging it the proper way, you like seeing the doorknob scene at like, and then immediately right after that montage, I feel like it's too cheesy. Like it's just too much for me. There's something about it that just makes me kind of like kind of icky.
It kind of feels in a similar way of how and we'll get to it, but of like Audrey and Lily Zane's character, John Justice Wheeler.
Yeah.
I definitely get that. I think for me it's more about like the aesthetic flair that's put over it makes me more okay with it than the John Justice Wheeler Audrey thing. But yeah. Okay,
fair.
That's completely fair. But yes, so Harry's sad and everyone comforts it, comforts is a weird one there in quotations, because like Hawk brings him breakfast, and then Cooper comes in and is like, your ex-lover was a whore. Like
she was a bad person.
Yeah, and I get what he means, like one day this is going to help you, but like dude, it was last night. Like he hasn't even had a sleep on it, man. Like
in addition to killing Eckert, trying to kill me, and killing Jonathan in Seattle.
Closed case.
She's also wanted for a variety of felonies in Hong Kong. She's also had 2 prostitution arrests, Harry.
So she must be a bad person. So like what's interesting about that, to bring it up, is like so all of that like stuff going with Joan Chen's character, right, Josie. I think I mentioned like, oh yeah, she was during the show was like being cast for this movie, wanted to be written out of the show to go be part of this movie, right? And right as all that's happening, David Lynch and Mark Frost step back from the show, right? And I think that like there's no real interviews to point to whose fault the Josie stuff was, but I will say whose fault it is. But like I think that they had a fear, like all these people are starting to get like some fame from the show while these lead people are leaving the show, and I think they feared an exodus, especially as like there was a lot of pushback to like the main studio, right, of everyone's like felt like ABC and Bob Iger was sabotaging the show by putting it in weird time slots, moving it around, forcing plot points that the showrunners didn't want to have happen, and so I think that they feared a mass exodus, so they were like, all right, Josie, you want to leave the show? Fine. Here's how we're going to treat your character. And I think that they were given like a plot set of like, here's what Josie's character, where it should go, by David Lynch and Mark Frost, of being like, here's what we had in mind.
Okay.
And then they left the show, and then these people didn't know what to do with it, so they just kind of like shoved it in there and got rid of her by doing that. And so this is after that big hiatus, right? The first hiatus I told you about, where like it was almost canceled at 16, and then a bunch of fan letters came in and they gave it 6 more episodes, right? And so I think that like after this, you know, David Lynch, Mark Frost start to come back in a little bit more. And I feel like Cooper being like, here's all the stuff she did and here's what she was, is literally them going like, this is what it was supposed to be and they fucked it up. It's how I read it on a meta textual level.
Okay,
but that's just my interpretation of it. You know, maybe there's interviews out there that
that's fair.
But yeah, it is a weird kind of bad scene to start with. That part of it at the very least. And for you, all of it.
Yeah. Like Josie, I imagine that she was a good character in season 1. I have nothing to base that off of. But every scene that I have seen Josie in has literally been some of the worst scenes that I've seen of the show. And so I don't have a very favorable opinion of her character. And so to see kind of like her last scene as like that montage with Harry is kind of like that. I think maybe that's why it gave me the ick.
Yeah.
It's kind of like not a great way to send her
especially one who seems like
the previous episode was bad.
It seems like she's like from your perspective, you already have the assumption she's been here the whole time. Yeah. And so like for a long running character, that's like different than it would be for like, you know, David Duchovny coming in for like 3 episodes and leaving, right? Like yeah. But yeah. Bit of a bummer.
Yeah. Okay, the next scene is the diner scene where we're introduced to Annie, which I put Norma's daughter.
Sister.
But it's actually Norma's sister. She looks very young. Annie looks very young, so that's why I assumed it was Norma's daughter.
I think she's older than Shelley. Yeah.
Okay, I see.
And that's Heather Graham.
And then
I love all of these. Like this is my problem with the show, is it forces me to say I love these cops. But I do. I think this is her introduction. Do you recognize her?
Okay, I was about to say she doesn't look familiar.
She doesn't look familiar at all? That's
Norma's
Heather Graham.
Daughter?
This is my sister Annie. Hi Annie, welcome. Norma's told me all about you.
So that was a good character introduction. I liked that. And then
not much to say about it except that it was kind of cute. You know, they're like
it
clarify
was cute.
Like, oh yeah, do you want to talk about mom or be happy? And they're like, let's just be happy and not bring her up again.
Yeah. And then immediately after, there's the general at the diner, and then the log lady comes in.
Compelling.
Don't be like that. That's your boyfriend's dad.
Who the frick?
Is this your first introduction to the log lady?
Yeah. She did like a talk at the beginning of a thing, and okay, this is my like, okay, there's an episode like that we talked about. I don't remember which episode it was, but you were like, oh, I have to introduce you to the log lady. She's this lady that comes on at the beginning of not every episode, but she comes on at the beginning of the episode and says some like poetry
it is
shit.
Every episode. And to be fair, it's not always poetry shit. Sometimes it is just her going off on some tangent that's not poetic at all, and it's weird. But sometimes it is poetry shit. Yeah, anyway, absolutely. Continue.
Okay. And so I was like, oh, like when you first introduced me, I'm like, oh, they added like this, like, you know, little prologue essentially at the beginning of every episode, which is kind of cute. And then she shows up in this episode talking to the general, and it's like as if you put the narrator into the story. Like, you didn't realize the narrator is in the story. It's like they plucked her from the fourth wall and put her in the story. And it was very jarring to me at first. I was like, what the frick is the log lady doing here? Because that was the only information that I got, was that she was at the beginning of every episode talking to the viewer. And so I was like, oh, she's like a fourth wall breaking character. But then you pluck her out of that and put her in that reality, and it was just very, very jarring to me. So yeah, that's good to know that she's like an actual person in the show. I thought it was just a random ass person that they had at the beginning of the episode.
That's very funny.
Yeah. I put log lady question mark on my notes here because I was very confused. I can feel the confusion.
Yeah, she just shows up and starts touching on the major too. It's like a really weird way to like come across her for the first time. Why did they have that be her introduction? She should have been in the show earlier.
Yeah, exactly. What the frick? So yeah, not much to say else about that. The next scene is I titled it Cooper Now in Charge of the police station and shit.
Need a hand? Question I should be asking you.
You're the senior lawman, Cooper. Let's just let the rain fall as it has been.
I put a note that I put is Josie only weighed 65 pounds. I put that note in there because I thought that was an interesting thing to note. There's some ghost shit going on. I don't know, but that's kind of crazy. And the other note that they have on the scene is nothing on Earl. So they have made no progress on Earl Wyndham's case. So
yeah. I mean, that is what the scene is. I mean, there's not much else to say. It's nice that Hawk, as with every scene with him, just knows what's going on and is like, listen, you're the FBI guy. It doesn't matter that I have seniority in here and you've lost rank. Why are we going to pretend like it's different?
Okay, and then immediately following is the scene with Earl and Leo.
Me with my allergies.
This scene made me feel conflicted about Leo's character because, like, Leo was first introduced as like a bad guy essentially and like attacking Shelly, and then immediately afterwards being kidnapped by the freaking story's pivotal main villain. Like, oh, like I kind of feel bad for Leo, or like what is going on here? And then I'm brought back into a story of like how he was basically incapacitated and like not moving, not able to move at all. And then now I'm back to like hating on Leo. Now that he's like he attacked Shelly, like that's not cool, but I also feel bad for him. Like I don't know how to place my feelings with Leo basically. Like I don't know where he sits in my spectrum of like, do I hate him? Do I feel bad for him? I think I more so feel bad for him, but like it seems like I don't know how to feel about Leo, but this scene in particular made me feel bad about for him because Wyndham was whacking on him with a flute, and so yeah, just interesting scene.
Yeah,
that made me more than anything feel bad for him.
Yeah, I have some opinions on the Leo thing. But we'll get into it actually in a different scene that doesn't involve him. But as far as that goes, it is really interesting to hear you say that, because that seems to be like what people who saw the show kind of feel about it too. Because like, it feels like the show's trying to paint him in a sympathetic light, and so you're trying to feel like you know, you're gonna feel what the show wants you to feel, but then you're like, no, wait, this guy was kind of a piece of shit from everything we know about him. right?
Yeah.
And like especially there's some stuff earlier, no spoilers, but you already gathered he's a piece of shit. So like, you know, not spoilers.
Yes.
He's really a piece of shit. Like and yet they're trying to like frame it this way. And I think that's where like part of our modern sensibilities and the modern way that this show is telling its story comes up with its soap opera aspects. Right, because it's not that wild for like in a soap opera for a character to switch from being like similar to wrestling, right? Of like going from like being a face to a heel to back to a face. Like heels can turn to faces and faces to heels all the time, and that happens in soap opera too, where it's like, oh, I thought you were a good guy, but I'm a villain now, and then the villain gets redeemed, and they're like a really good guy, and so it's not that weird, but because of the new way that they were telling this story that like modern stuff has run with that we're, you know, familiar with now, it's like because of the way continuity works in this show, you're like, well, I don't know if you could get away with that soap opera turn, you know, because this guy's a real piece of shit. Like you had to be very real as a piece of shit person, and now all of a sudden you're doing a soap opera turn with him. I don't know about that. So yeah, it all of the Wyndham Earl Leo stuff is weird, and we'll get into my opinions about that later.
Yeah. Okay. I'll move on to the next scene, which is Audrey and Mr. Wheeler. I put his name as Mr. Wheeler because I can't remember his
Justice
first name.
Wheeler.
John Justice Wheeler. Oh
it's a hell of a name.
Yep, that is a hell of a name.
They also call him Jack, but like if I'm gonna say his name, I'm gonna use that name.
The full name of John
Exactly.
Justice. Oh my god.
How can I help you, Mr. Wheeler?
Or the talk we had at dinner. I can't.
Gosh, I'm sorry I was rude, wasn't I? It's just that when it comes to my family, I get a little excitable, that's all.
Who am I to waltz in here out of nowhere as if your father does not help him hurt him?
Qualified for the job than you.
Hello?
What are we talking about anyway?
I was apologizing and you were apologizing. We were both real sorry about something. You want to go out somewhere? That time, right? It's not good.
Oh, no, it's great.
How about a picnic?
Ooh.
So
We need outdoor stuff.
you
but that's good.
this
Right
works for you? Question mark.
It's very odd, very awkward flirting. It's
Sure,
like forced,
as a master of
forced
awkward
tension.
flirting, but like,
Forced
yeah.
tension.
Okay.
It feels like I felt more tension between Audrey and Cooper than her and that guy.
Yeah. We'll get into that afterwards. You were like, oh, and I was like, wait, no, I need to know right now. Is this working for you?
I think I just like picnics.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay, it's the picnic, not the flirting.
You got
Gotcha.
Josie's dossier in from Interpol.
Yeah, okay, I have a note here. Forced tension. The beginning was fine. I think maybe this is just a personal preference for me, but I like slow burn relationships. I love slow burn, like building up, like make me want it bad where by the time it happens, I'm like screaming, right? I love that kind of slow burn. And so when Audrey and John Justice Wheeler first met, it was like a cute little flirty, like ooh, that's kind of like there's something there, you know, like there's like something.
Yeah, and then they had a dinner.
And then by the end of
they had a dinner
episode,
too that was kind of like nice and flirty, but there's some tension there of like, oh, she's pulling away, and he's like, okay, I don't know what to do. But like it still had that energy.
Exactly.
And then 100%, I'm with you.
And then it completely falls in and on of itself, and then they kiss by the end of the episode. Not to jump ahead, but and then I was like, okay, all the tension's gone. Like I don't, and like it's so quickly forced. Like the other picnic scene from a previous episode was that of Donna and the poor kid. I can't remember his name. James, yeah. I'm like, that was that there was a purpose for that picnic scene. Like it felt very sweet. Whereas this picnic scene felt very forced, felt very like trying to rush through the burn kind of deal, and I really, that's why I kind of like fell off. I fell off very quickly on the Audrey and John Justice Wheeler train. I fell off very quickly here. On that one.
Every podcast I've listened to about Twin Peaks says the exact same thing, to the point where like they also say similar things about a different pairing that happens that I'm sure you can guess which one, but I'm not going to say it just in case. I agree on this one, disagree on the other one, but this one, yeah, it's just, you're always hoping that it's going to be more interesting than it ends up being too with it, you know, like
yeah,
it feels like what is the tension really there except, you know, like
right,
and there isn't any, because they have to get together immediately because there's only 5 episodes left.
Yeah.
So, right? Because like if you remember, like this is after the hiatus and they started to have a game plan. So like we have to get to these points. And you can feel that. You can feel the writer's room with their relationship.
Yeah.
Fully agree.
Definitely. Okay. The next scene, we talked about it earlier, but I'll bring it up, is when Cooper visits Harry at the bookshop and basically says, my notes are Josie bad.
Oh, sorry. Those are two separate scenes. That's right. I combined them. Yeah, that's my bad.
It's okay.
Yeah. They blur together.
It's okay. I just, yeah, that's very fair. It's you can tell that they were all filmed back to back. So you know what?
Yeah, for sure. In which case, I like that opening scene just full stop. Let me say that, because the part I don't like about it actually happens later.
There you go. And then the scene that follows that is Catherine's scene, with whatchamacallit, Aaron Eckhart's assistant, whose name is Jones. I didn't get her first name.
I guess you have your reasons to be bitter.
Would you just call me a healthy skeptic? Now, why did you really come to see me?
Ooh, you tell him, Catherine.
I came here to give you a gift. May I?
I don't think so. Slowly.
Really like that. I'll get into it a little bit later, but like all right, if you say so, like, because you know that she can't contain her curiosity. Like, all right, well, what is it though?
From Thomas.
And she gives Catherine a black
box
mysterious, and notes that and then the other note I have here is that Eckhart wants to be buried next to Josie, which is like, the symbolism there is quite interesting. It's
so interesting that like I don't think it's a spoiler because you've gotten these pieces already, but like a lot of the actions she took were clearly to get away from these men in power, even if the thing she's doing sucks. And it's so interesting, like in a metatextual level, or like what the show is saying about some of this stuff, that like even in death she couldn't escape, and that these people in power can just decide where to put her body and have them be by each other, and like you know, it's a depressing little thing, and I really love Catherine in there, because she's
me too.
Like she's queen of this show, really. Like they're so great.
I love her.
Like you're talking about how so far you haven't liked Josie's scenes a lot, but she's paired with Catherine a lot as well, and especially earlier. But like, oh, it's so. I do love both of them. I do think the second half of the season she's checked out a little bit, which is part of that as well, because she's going on to movies, right? But Catherine is just like. So apparently she just loved the script on the first episode when it first came out, no spoilers, and then was like, but this show's never actually going to be made. Like, And so she signed on because she's like, this is brilliant and it's not gonna go anywhere. And then like it kept going, and she was like, yeah, by all accounts, she loved every moment of being on this show, and it shows. It's like
it shows.
She's
it really
so
does
good,
show.
man. Like.
She
a lot of
is.
people don't like
Oh my
her
gosh.
plot line at any point, early season stuff, even when the show's good to the end. I immediately was like fully invested with her plot line and being like, yes, this is some of the greatest television, man. Like, it's so good. And she never drops in quality. She's always like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't say that, and I'm gonna shut my mouth because if you know, you know. But outside of one blemish,
Okay.
it's really, really good.
She is such a scene stealer. Like, her actress is so talented, and like the way that she plays Catherine, especially in the 2 scenes that she's in this episode, there are layers. You can like, even though I've only been introduced to Catherine like a handful of times at this point, like I can just tell there are so many different layers to her character. Like, there is a lot going on there, and she doesn't have a lot of speaking lines compared to, you know, Coop, for example. But like her character layers, I would say, are on par with Coop's. Like, I really like Catherine. I'm a big fan of her. Like, even if she's like kind of like, you know, like I was like kind of standoffish with Catherine because she was kind of really shitty towards Josie. But
No,
like,
she's a piece of
there
shit,
are reasons
though, too.
why,
Like,
that
and
I
it's
found
great.
out why. Yeah, I found out why. Yeah, and I was like, oh shit, like no, Catherine like owns that
she's a
shit.
villain,
like,
and she knows
She fully
it.
deserved
Yeah,
to do
it's
that.
great.
Yeah, exactly.
And
it's so great. It's
on
fantastic.
that line, while we're giving her flowers, like she's always on the edge of camp, but like I think that what stops her from being fully camp, fully chewing the scenery, is the depth that she brings to the character. Like you're saying, is like she's very campy as a character, but then by providing that depth, it walks it back from being like too much, you know, like just brilliant.
Yeah,
entirely. Like,
she's great.
So great.
She's great.
And like a good point is like her like pulling out the gun, which great moment. And then like she's like, I have something for you. She's like, no, you don't. And then like you could see her like get curious and like see that transformation of like, I do want to know what this is actually.
I do want to know what it is. Like,
give
it to me now. I still want to, like, it's very much, I still want to have power in this scene, but let me see what
exactly.
you got there. Let me see what you got in your bag.
Yeah.
She's good. Oh my god, I loved her. Loved that scene. That's a good 10 out of 10.
Yes.
For me. Immediately following is I wrote. Okay, I didn't realize it was Wyndham Earl. I wrote Dr. Gerald Craig.
Oh my god, this
and then
you do have the problem my mom has. Where every time
I realized it was him after. But I was like, oh, this is a new character, and I made a note to write his name down because I didn't want to forget it. And then I put immediately. There's a line that says Wyndham right there. So yeah,
that's so funny.
Well, I'm Dr. Gerald Craig, an old friend of Will's from medical school. I have a convention in Spokane, and so I just thought...
Just in case you're like my mom, that's Wyndham Earl in makeup.
Yeah, I see.
Okay.
Donna. Would you like to come in, Dr. Craig?
I appreciate that.
Oh, Donna. Come on.
But it's not like she's ever met Wyndham, so like how would she know better? You know?
Why would you let a stranger into your house? I mean, I guess this is like the 80s, so they let anyone into your house.
Yeah, and he was like, yeah, you know, I know your dad, and dropped like the college they were in or whatever, right?
Now, don't knock small towns until you've lived in the city, Donna. You know, it seems like Will is found himself a little piece of heaven here.
But yeah, you definitely shouldn't do that while you're home
Don't
alone.
you have two sisters?
Yeah, they're younger than
Are they just as beautiful as you?
My main comment for this is Donna continues to disappoint me as a character. She has no sense of like personal safety whatsoever. And so I'm very disappointed with her, again, with this scene, that she lets a random stranger come into her house and sit next to her. Like, that is so, like, I know it's the 80s, and you know, in the 80s, you leave your front door open, and like, you know, it's supposed to be a small town, nothing happens. But you live in Twin Peaks. This is season 2, episode 17. I know of like at least 5 different people that have died in like the 4 episodes or something that I've
That means
watched
in
so
less
far.
than a month.
It's just like yeah.
And particularly in the last couple
Like,
weeks.
this is not
No.
a safe town. This is not a safe town. So what are you doing, Donna? Letting this random man into your home. And
Yeah,
so,
I'm
it was very,
not a
very
Donna fan in the
disappointing.
first place. But like, yeah, so I didn't. Okay, so I have my problem. I think that the actor Kenneth something, the actor for Wyndham Earl, does the best that he can with what he's given.
Okay.
But to get into what I was going to talk about with Leo and Wyndham, right? Is that
Okay.
So I've been I listened to a few different Twin Peaks podcasts, one of which is called The Detective and the Log Lady. And one of them, yes, it is a very good title. But one of them brought up like a thing that like has rung true for me as I've rewatched this back half with you and have been checking out stuff myself in this back half, which is that like it'd be a lot stronger if they never show Wyndham Earl, because the way everyone talks about Wyndham Earl and the way that he just kind of keeps showing up in places makes him like this scary person, like legitimately. But then we see him playing the flute and meowing at Leo and you know, all of this. And like, you know, the disguises are fine, but you keep like even in this episode we see him in 2 different disguises, one of which makes him look kind of silly as the trucker dude, biker, right? And it's like this is who we're supposed to be afraid of, right? And they were like, their idea is like, if they never showed Wyndham, it would be a lot stronger, right?
Okay.
And I think it could have worked in a way of like having Leo run into the woods, find this cabin, and then every time we see him, he seems semi-alone in a scene, and maybe there's a shadow, and he's catatonic, and like make it clear that there's something going on behind the scenes for why he's acting the way he is, but make it seem like it's kind of Leo's thing that like sends out the letters and sends out, you know, all of this.
Okay. I can
and then
dig
like
that. I can dig
that
it.
other scene where Donna and her dad and they find out that this guy's not real. Imagine how much scarier that is if we didn't see the interaction. Like that's so much scarier being like, oh, by the way, your friend came in, right? Like at most give us a little prequel part of this scene and then get the knock at the door and have Donna go to answer and cut there. And that builds tension of, oh, what's that? And then we find out later that it was Wyndham, but they're still not showing us. Don't show us the monster.
Yeah.
But like,
I like
yeah,
that.
and I want to make it clear that like I'm not trying to be mean to the actor of Wyndham. I think that what they wrote for him, they weren't sure how to do this ex-FBI super brilliant guy who's also might be crazy ?
Right.
Like they didn't know how to handle that.
Right.
And so like I think there's a version of it where this actor like on occasion can be very creepy and very good at that, but like wasn't given the script to do that, so instead just cut those parts out and have him be like just around, you know, maybe hear his voice at the diner
I can agree with
as
that.
he calls over Shelly, but then like have that Shelly scene happen where we hear his voice and call over Shelly and then focus on Cooper and Annie instead, while like it's like, why did they call attention to that? And then we get the hints that like, oh, there's something about that right later where we still didn't
Yeah.
see it. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm jumping ahead, but like this is like one of those things.
Yeah,
where
it's okay.
It's a cemetery.
Ooh.
Knight to King's Bishop 3. That man, he's very dangerous. Don't let him in here again, you understand?
Sure.
Really like the way that this scene is shot, framed.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna jump ahead too because in that diner scene, one of my favorite shots, like I don't write down my favorite shots in my notes, but like in my head, I make note of like I like that. The two shots that I really liked in this scene was the realization of the chess piece in the gift that and the looking up shot of Donna's dad.
Yes,
I liked that.
yes,
that
that's
shot a
the
lot.
one that made me
And
comment to you. Like,
the-
I really like this scene. Was
Yeah.
actually that shot.
Yes, yes.
Fully agree with you.
And the other shot that I really liked was the POV shot of Cooper at the diner. Like you're in
Yes.
Wyndham Earl's POV and you notice Cooper walking
Now
in.
imagine that
And
where you
there is
don't see
something
him.
Super, yes, where you don't see him. I can see that now. I can see that because there was something super unsettling knowing that it was Wyndham Earl. But imagine the layer of the viewer realizing that you're watching Wyndham Earl's POV and you don't realize that you're doing that. I think that would add a whole other level of scary, creepy kind of like
Mhm,
mystery to
mhm.
the show that the show is missing that aspect of the main storyline between Coop
Yes.
and Wyndham Earl is like is that mystery aspect. Like right now we're watching a game of cat and mouse, but the cat is wearing freaking fake mustaches and fake wigs and shit. And like, okay, the cat
And the
isn't
cat
that
is like
scary
always just kind
when you
of
put him
right
like
there.
that.
And if anyone was good at their jobs, he would be
Yeah.
caught. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's hard to be scared when the villain's getting away with it by incompetence of everyone else rather than them being very good at what they're doing.
It's not satisfying. It's not a satisfying thing to
Yeah.
watch. And so that's I now that you've brought that up, I do think
Once-
that the show would benefit if
Once
it
we
was like
finish
that.
this, you and I will have to go over this run of season 2 and make our own edited movie form of it and show that to somebody and see what they think of it. Because like, yeah, like cut some of this stuff out, like, you know?
Yeah. All right. Jumping ahead to the next scene is the scene with Pete doing all the different chess things.
And this gets back into what I was just talking about. Sorry, I know you have your opinions on it, so I should let you have. Go ahead.
Yeah. What's happening?
He has
Who is this guy?
Pete,
Have I met
Catherine's husband.
Oh, that's Pete. I didn't recognize him.
How you holding up, Pete?
Okay.
No. You go for it. You go
But
first.
like
You go
again with
first.
the Wyndham Earl thing of it being comical is like they frame this like, oh, look at how many games they have, sure, but it's shot like comedy. And it's like,
yes,
well,
exactly.
how serious are we taking this then? How serious is this chess game if
Yeah.
like, you know, it's this comedic thing of Pete looking and then sinking down below and you know, like and you know, Twin Peaks has always done a thing of juxtaposing comedy and horror and whatever. Like we've seen that already. But like
Yeah.
when none of those parts are firing well on the whole tension of this thing,
Mm-hmm.
you can't then put, you know, the joke on it and be like, see, we can have fun too. It's like, no, you're only exclusively having fun, and to a degree, it's not very fun. Like,
yeah, I agree with that. I do think I like the thought of Coop asking, you know, a random citizen, Pete in this case, for help of like, you know, we have nothing. Like there was this they mentioned in the earlier police scene, like we have nothing on Wyndham Earl. Like there's nothing we got on him. And so he asks, like, I like the background thought of like, he asks Pete, like, hey, I know you're good at chess. Can you help me? But you're right. Like it plays off with comedy with Lucy and Andy there. And I'm like, I know that Coop is trying to take it seriously, but me as the viewer can't, because Lucy and Andy are there fucking around, you know, with like and like it's funny, but like there's no tension to like what they're actually trying to do. If we're doing the same
exact concept, but doing it in a way that creates that tension, have him be in like the conference room, right? And at Pete and like drawing over a bunch of different games, like you know, manic to try to figure it out. And then and be very exhausted by it, and then tell Coop the whole, because that scene's there to tell him like, no matter what we do, people are going to die, right? That's a good tension point of being like, we're trying to lay it, but like, even if we do stalemate this game, people will die, right? So have him treat it that way, have it be in the scene treated that way, and drawn all over, not him sinking below other chess games, not him, but like have a bunch of printed out just covering walls and treat it seriously. And then like as they're dealing with that, have a knock on the door with Andy and Lucy coming in and having an argument about whether the knight can do that. Right? I think that's how you do it, where you still have the joke, you still have the tension, and they can kind of like, it almost feels like a tension break for them as well. Rather than right? I can see that. Like if you want to do the same exact scene, but like create that tension. Yeah. Right.
Just changing a few different couple things to get the point across still. And then immediately after the general and the log lady return, we find out her name is Margaret.
Yes.
I wrote Margaret, and then I wrote under her Twin Peaks because of her tattoo.
And you noticed it today?
My log noticed. I remember.
My log noticed?
Look at the back of my leg.
Twin Peaks!
Yeah.
And so I'm very checked out of that storyline. Like, I'm sure it's important later, because there's a reason why it's still in this freaking
Are you happy
season,
that it didn't end when you thought it did and it was pissing you off? Is this better for you?
I don't know if I like this more, honestly. I think with like the poor introduction with the log lady on top of this has made me entirely check out of that storyline. Like, I'm so like it could be aliens at this point and I still wouldn't care. Like, I don't know what's going on there. I'm very like Coop has too much going on right now. He's got that shit to deal with in Wyndham Earl. It's just like he's got a lot going on there. So I don't know. I have no other comment other than I hope that storyline wraps up quickly. But we'll see, I guess. We'll see. Yeah.
How would you feel if that was the end of it?
The next,
like they just brought it up that they had the tattoos or whatever, and then never brought it up again. Would that be better?
I would be so happy. I would be so happy. Like, oh, good. They don't have to deal with this bullshit anymore. Okay. The next scene, I titled it, "Why Is He Singing?"
6 by 3.
Just play guitar when you do it.
Don't bury me now.
Yeah, I was about to say, this is really incredibly awkward. Ugh, this forced tension makes me want to throw up.
That's interesting.
And that is Audrey and John Justice Wheeler, or whatever his name is. I put forced tension.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah,
That's
the
only
weird
note I have on
singing
there.
without the guitar, this scene sucks ass, and it's not even lit well. Like they're in the middle of a swamp. It's like, why is this your picnic spot? Like I think it's supposed to be a lake, but like it doesn't feel like a lake. It's lit. It's
doesn't
lit
feel like a
very
lake.
like the other case in point, the other picnic scene that we saw, like they went behind some trees and then like they had like a spotlight shining through, and it was like very
nice.
dreamy lighting and very.
It was very Camp Rock
Yeah.
with Mitchie and
where-
Joe Jonas sitting
like
by the
very
lake.
bright, like whether you could argue whether it's well lit or poorly lit, it is a stylistic choice. But I don't think you would look at this and be like, this looks like a pleasant place to have a picnic. Like,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. I mean, we don't need to talk
I
about it more.
agree.
Neither of us like this. Like
Yeah,
that's what the
I'm
scene
moving
was.
on.
Let's
I'm
go.
moving on.
Like, oh, I will say this though, real
the
quick.
next scene-
Audrey does
Oh,
seem
yeah,
like
yeah,
she
yeah.
has an awareness of the script and doesn't want to be there either.
Yeah.
She's like, well, I guess I have to be here because that's what the script says. Like, she's not invested in this either. Like, I do love that. Like, as he was singing, she looked like checked out too. Like, she was like, okay.
She did look very checked out.
Okay.
Oh my god. The next scene is whatchamacallit? The next scene here is Donna's dad being the only sensible person, it seems like, in Donna's life, to be like, this man is dangerous. I'm going to Cooper right now.
Well, his son is one of the
And
lead writers. That's Mark Frost's dad.
Oh, okay.
So it makes sense that he has his head on.
That's nice.
It's like, yeah, we're gonna make sure you always seem smart because one of the showrunners is your son. It's nepotism that makes him smart.
Oh my gosh. I love that. I love that for him, honestly.
No, but it's a good scene.
I like that scene a lot, and I like that it shows the further trust that the townspeople
Yeah.
have with Cooper. I like that they're like, he's immediately like, I'm taking this to Cooper. Like, it's not Harry, it's not Hawk, like it's Cooper. Like, that is the person that
Yeah.
he trusts, and so I like that demonstration of that.
Yeah,
and so
I
I like.
I didn't even consider that because to me it's like, oh, we know that the Wyndham Earl case, because he was there when Harry was like, do you want this case? Remember, because he was given the autopsy or whatever. And so like I
yeah.
definitely read it that way, but like you framing it that way made me be like, oh, that's actually like really, that's true. That's just straight up true. Or like it's great, and
Mhm.
I didn't think of it that way, and glad you pointed that out.
I like it. I like Cooper, my buddy, my pal. I love him.
I'm glad that even watching it this horrible way, like everybody loves Cooper. like he is like the selling point to the show, and I'm glad that even in the worst of the worst, it's still like, and Cooper's my boy. Like, and it's like, yes, absolutely. Like,
okay. The next scene is a kind of a shit show. It's the Nadine, Eddie, and Doc scene. Nadine, once again, steals every scene that she is part of.
No jealous rages. Well, maybe just one.
Nadine, you and Ed are about to get a divorce.
I think I've gone blind in my left eye.
I love Nadine. I know she's not right state of mind right now, but I love her.
she's definitely very interesting as a character to have in the show as like a little fun.
I love
Yes.
her, and I'm so curious now. I'm even more curious of how the fuck did she get this way? Like, what happened
Yeah,
to
what
this
do you
poor
think's
woman
going on here?
where she thinks she's like, I don't know, like the first scene that I see her in is like like literally she sees her husband in bed with
Takes
another
out the
woman
door.
and is like and kicks off
Oh, it's not
the
even
door
kick. It's just like
and is
walks
like,
through and
yeah.
accidentally takes the door off, and you're like,
Oh my
yeah,
god.
no, it's
What is and then she lies down in bed with them and is like, yeah, this is okay with me.
well, it's
I'm like,
she doesn't even
okay,
say that.
girl,
When she
girl,
lies down in
like-
bed, she talks about her wrestling competition and how she was disqualified and only got second place because she didn't know an airplane slam was illegal. And you're just like, so who is she? And I was like, that's
Yeah, who
his
is-
wife. Like,
And so like this has been a wild journey. This has been a very wild journey with Nadine. And it's
it's
just like I'm trying to put the pieces together, but the pieces aren't fitting.
my
Like, what
first
is
time
happening
through
here?
this
Like,
show.
what is
I
going
hated
on?
this plot line. I hated it so much.
Yeah.
Like, again, I think I sent voice messages to you of being like, what the fuck's up with Nadine? Why is she in high school?
Yeah.
Like, right? But then, like, literally by the second time I watched it, I was like, no, this is funny as hell. This is brilliant. And I shouldn't have been so hard on this because this is so good. Like, this is choice. If you don't look at it, like, if you don't look past it being a comedy bit in a TV show, if you start to look at it a little too closely, you're like, oh, this is upsetting. But, you know, if you take a couple steps back and are like, it's just a comedy bit, you're like, no, perfect piece of comedy. Perfect piece of comedy just sprinkled throughout this last half of the season. Getting later to another great scene that happens with her. We'll get there though, but like that scene
We'll get
is
there.
actually retroactively what made me love that storyline.
Yeah. It's so
good.
Oh my god. I'm gonna
Yeah.
skip ahead to go to
Oh, I do
put
have a
note of
question real quick
Confederate guy.
about that last scene though.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, what do you
Okay,
think is so you understand that like they're trying to divorce her, but she doesn't understand that she's married, yeah?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
there's a thing that relates to that where there's a point where she winks at Ed and then that's when she realizes she doesn't have her eye. Right.
Yeah.
Like what do you make of that and like the way her reality is shifted in that aspect?
I think I want to say like either she got hit on the head with something and like in like extreme memory loss where like she's brought back to essentially like she is the mental age of a high schooler. But that doesn't explain her eye missing. That doesn't explain her insane super strength at all. And so like that's why I'm hoping it's
Okay.
aliens. Because that would explain it. And
So you're starting to
you
think that
know.
this is an alien show.
yeah, like it's like I had a feeling it was aliens with the freaking colonel being kidnapped,
Major.
the general guy being kidnapped. Yeah, Major. I
It's
keep
fine.
forgetting
I'm not
his-
correcting you to correct you. I'm correcting you in case anyone decides to watch this and is like, he's a major. Yes, I know he's a major, and I'll
The
it doesn't
military
matter.
guy.
It
The
does not
military
matter what his
guy.
rank is.
And so like I'm wondering like is she alien experimentation and like she disappeared for a bit and now she's back as alien thing? That's the only thing I can think of that's what happened. Or she fell into a vat of acid or something. I don't know. And like she like something happened or whatever that's causing her to feel this way. This is just a side thought. It's not related to
That's
the question
fine.
that you asked, but like it makes me feel more sad for
Mhm.
Eddie. Like this poor man is going through the ringer with his wife. Like holy shit!
The
Imagine waking
more-
up one day and your wife is like crazy.
The more
Oh
you
my
learn about
God.
Ed's backstory, the more depressing it gets. Which is
Oh, no, I don't know how
which
I
to be fair,
feel.
some of it is just in books and isn't in the show. So like that's why I'm sharing this. Is like,
Okay.
but like it gets like
Ah,
it can
okay.
there's some like, oh, I'm so sorry your life turned out this way. You didn't deserve that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Eddie.
So that's
Oh,
yeah.
my buddy, my pal. It's funny because he started on my shit list of because like he was in bed with another woman that wasn't his wife, but immediately I was like, oh wait, no, this is
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
like yeah, I do want Eddie to be with Norma. Like I want that
Also,
to
like
happen.
it
because
gets
what
into the
fuck is
complexities
going
of some
on
of the
with
characters that
Nadine?
even the good people, they're like, well, like there's some stuff here where like you're like, I want you to be happy, but you're
Yeah.
doing some stuff where I'm like, that's not the good way to do
I'm
it.
like,
But like people
eh.
are messy, and so I get it. Like, it is usually
Yeah.
either people are
Like, I get it.
either in this show evil or messy, and I don't. And there's like not really an
Yeah.
in between. Like,
Oh my
sorry,
God.
yeah. So skipping ahead to the next scene. Yes.
Yes. Yes. The next scene, I put Confederate guy plus Donna's mom. I don't know what to think of that. They whispered. Donna saw
Yep.
it.
Okay,
Cool.
the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
I
don't know.
really wish
Yeah,
you
the
would.
end. Okay, moving on.
Okay, I need. I know you don't have a different frame of reference for him yet. I need to find a different frame of reference for him because I don't want that to be how you think of him forever. But that is the struggle of starting with the show the way we did. Is that a character I love dearly? Is the Confederate guy?
It's the
It's like,
Confederate
oh,
guy.
you know him from his lowest low. Well, debatably his lowest low, but his lowest low as in terms of acting and playing a character, right? Like, yeah. But yeah, this scene's
I see.
nothing, and it leads to a
Yeah.
plot line I don't care
It's
about
a
either.
nothing burger to me.
So okay.
Okay.
If you end up caring about it, that's fine. But like,
Okay, the next scene is Shelly for Miss Twin Peaks.
Miss Double R Diner. What would you do to bring about world peace?
Yeah. I would bring all the world leaders together, make them form a circle and join hands. Because you can't make a fist holding hands.
You should.
it's just really cute, and it really shows their relationship together. Like, so that's Wyndham Earl.
Oh, that's Wyndham. Okay.
Yeah.
What's with the
Oh, so you actually didn't recognize him this time.
My boss told me I should enter a pageant.
I didn't recognize him
He's
that
so
time.
good at disguises.
You can kid about it, but
He
you
is.
are very pretty.
And I'm a big fan of the thought of that. I would love her to do that. Because she needs, like, the poor Shelly, like, I met her when she was about to be killed by Leo. And then the more I got to know her, it was like, oh, she had been taking care of Leo, stuck in a house, and now she's, like, happier at the diner. And so I would love for her to go for Miss Twin Peaks.
A really cute interaction
that'd be
between those
great.
two. Like, this is only their second interaction for you, right? Because with Norma and
Mhm,
Shelly,
yes.
where
Yes.
you know, the first scene you saw was Shelly getting her job back, where it was very
Job
clear
back
that
at
they
the
cared
diner,
about
yeah.
each other. But I thought this was
Yes,
really nice
yes.
too, where like she talks about her sister a bit to her, or was like, oh, you told she's told me all about you, and Annie goes to Norma and is like, all about me, huh? And she's like, no, she's like family, and it like
Mhm.
them joking around there really makes it feel that way, not in that corporate we're all family so do overtime
Yeah.
for free way, but more in the like,
Yeah.
I see you making some choices that I relate to, and I'm adopting you as
Yeah.
like my younger sister as well. We're all going to be a family of sisters, and it's going to be fine.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just really sweet, and it's nice to see.
It's great. Yes. And then Wyndham Earl, that I did not recognize as Wyndham Earl. So
it's good
there's
that I am
that.
pointing him out every time. Like I was worried
Yes!
that this is.
It is good. Like I actually do appreciate
Because like I was worried that like it's a running joke making fun of my mom that is gonna make it into the edits, but then like I was worried that like, oh, is she gonna get annoyed? Does she feel like I'm talking to? No, you apparently you actually need it too. Like,
Yes,
so
I
that's
do.
fine. I just think it's funny that the last two people I've watched
Yes.
Twin Peaks with neither of them can recognize Wyndham Earl when he's in a disguise. It's brilliant. Because yeah, it just has one of those faces. A malleable face.
He does. He does. In my notes, I wrote, Coop is there! Not question mark. Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. And then Annie meets Cooper. And then I put a small heart there because I did notice a tension between Cooper and Annie. And I think it's because Annie looks like the girl in the credits scene, which I now know is Cooper's like love lady. And so I was like, is that what it is? And then so I was very, I don't know. I'll put a question mark and a heart next to that. I did like Coop a lot in this scene. Coop was very, I mentioned it while we were watching.
Yes,
very golden
yes.
retriever. Very, very
Before
cute.
we get
I
much
like
further,
seeing a happier
real
side
quick.
of Coop.
We
Okay.
have seen that picture
Okay.
before, but it's not of his ex-love. And I was
Who is that?
it was a picture at the funeral.
Oh, wait, hold on.
in,
Now I'm
in
mixing up
episode 10.
characters in my
Yeah.
head.
We
I'm mixing up characters in my head. This is the problem of
Yeah.
watching it out
yeah,
of
yeah.
order like
No,
this.
I was debating on letting you run with that wrong assumption because I thought that'd be funny. But then I thought, like, well, we do already have this information, so I should like I promised you that
Right.
if we have information,
Yes.
I will jump in and help you with that.
Yes.
So that
Yes.
picture was at
Okay.
Sarah Palmer's house.
Right, Sarah Palmer. That's her name.
Sarah Palmer is Grace Zabriskie, the
Right.
older woman. The person in the picture,
Right.
that's what like it initially started on, and then moved over, and then said 3 days later. And that's all you know about it.
Okay. Okay.
Yes,
that's all
but that
I
is
know
not
about it.
that is
Who-
not whatever her name is, Cooper's ex-love, who's so unimportant that I do not
Okay.
remember her name.
Oh, okay.
There's a
okay.
spoiler. She
That's good to
doesn't
know.
matter. Like, she's there as a plot device for Wyndham and Cooper to hate each other, which sucks.
I see. Anyway, I like the
Yes.
tension between
Yes.
Annie and Cooper, regardless. I thought that was cute. And then the next scene is Harry's gone wild.
Never got to China. She came to me. And she made everything better. So much better.
Harry, the life is still your own. Josie didn't take that with her.
She should have gotten her. I should have taken her away from here. Loved her. She didn't have to die.
Aww. Bro hug.
I mean, it is nice to have like men showing their emotions and comforting each other, and
Yeah, that is nice.
We're all like that.
Aww. And then the note I have under it is bro hug heart.
yeah, I
And
yeah.
yeah.
I love the type of tantrum that leads to someone just tilting pictures, not taking them off the wall. Oh, I'm so angry. Turn it 45 degrees. Very specifically.
Yes, very specific. And then,
I also do like that he's sitting on top of
uh,
like a bunch of like on a pile higher up. Like it's just kind of
Yes.
nice, you know?
Yeah,
and I'm always gonna
yeah.
be here. I brought it up during the reaction, but I'm always gonna be here for like men able to show their emotions and be like, you know,
yes. It's nice.
emotionally and physically comfort each other that way, you know.
Yes, I like that.
Yes.
I like that scene. Very good scene. And then the next scene is Nadine and Mike, and my only note is, oh my god.
Yeah, so walk me through oh my god real quick.
So
That's correct, yes. We're from Bozeman originally, but my wife thought that it would be nice to see the countryside.
And that's Mike,
You have some
right?
very pretty country here in
Yeah.
Blue Peaks.
yeah, that is
Will you be
Mike.
with us long?
Not long enough.
No, just until tomorrow, if that's okay, because we're going deep sea fishing.
Oh, goody.
Okay, so we'll just be going on up now. Me and Mrs. Hinkman.
Oh my
Mike?
god.
Susan, how are you?
Fine. I'll see you at school.
Mm-hmm.
School?
Because
Oh my
he's on the football
God.
team. They're trying to get him placed.
Oh my god, this is so.
I think we can handle it.
Oh my god. Nadine!
Yeah, sorry to clarify, he's also a high schooler. Yeah. Yeah. Oh
Oh,
yeah.
I know. Yeah.
Marvelous.
I thought Mike wasn't into Nadine, but clearly he is into her to a
So
certain
to
extent.
do the timeline on that, because you are correct. The last time we saw him, and I think the last time we saw him and watching it normally, was him being like, I'm gonna order 2 pieces of pie and I'm gonna eat them both myself. I don't like you.
Yes,
Right?
exactly. That was the last thing I saw of Mike, and so it's
And I
interesting
think that's
to
the last
see
time
Mike
we saw him too.
at the hotel.
But if you remember that very first episode we saw, she talked about how while on the wrestling trip with Mike, they had a very magical night together in the hotel.
Oh yeah, right. That is the first episode on the bed.
Yeah. When
Oh
she
my
leaves, when she
God.
gives permission for those two to be together, for Norma and Ed to be together, she's like, because I'm with Mike. And your exact reaction was, that's so messy. And now you know Mike's a high schooler and she thinks she's a high schooler. So it's messier than you ever imagined.
It's messier than I thought. Oh my god, so much mess.
But yeah,
oh my
no.
god. So yeah, I thought it was
It's
a
so
good
funny.
scene.
It's so choice. Like
thought it was
Mike
very
being
good.
there dressed up and trying to be an adult and her looking at him like all starry-eyed, and then him getting called out by other classmates is like just it's so choice, and it feels very real. If only she
Yeah.
wasn't 30 something, this would be a very real scene of being like, hi, yeah,
Oh
I'll
my
see you at
God.
school, and like turning back to the guy and be like, it's all so choice. It's such a good scene. That yeah,
It's a good
everything
scene.
else, like that is the scene that made me like the Nadine storyline.
I see. Okay, and then the last-ish scene is the Save the Pine Weasel. Okay.
A delightful mix of warm northern
So ugly.
and southern insouciance. An elegant worsted wool jacket over a plethora of plaid. Mr. Brennan is wearing a fire engine red turtleneck beneath an all wool plaid
Andy.
My God.
shirt. He completes this look with his red and black buffalo check jodhpurs. For the man who wants to make a statement while retaining that casual feel, whether he's out.
Why does he always look like he's so
writing the
lost?
breeze of a chance speech.
He's so good at it though.
That's it.
Oh, weasel attack! Weasel attack! Oh shit! Oh god, weasel escape!
Weasel Escape is my favorite PS1 game.
This is why I groaned
Mhm.
at the end of the
Mhm.
episode, because this entire scene is bad. I did not like watching any of that. I'm glad that we're walking through it scene by scene, because when you asked me how, like at the beginning of this talking section, you asked me, how do you feel about the episode? I was like, Like, I didn't like it, and I think that's purely because
Mhm.
the episode is shadowed by
It's
this
so
scene.
goddamn
like,
long.
I actually did like
It's
this
so
episode.
goddamn long.
I did like this episode up until that scene. It's so long. It's so unnecessary, and it's so like. I hate it. I hated this last scene. It really brings down the entire episode. It's so I feel like I don't even need to go through it because it's such a nothing burger
No,
of a scene.
there's a few things that
And
we
then-
do need to touch on. The horrible fashion.
Like what?
It's so bad
Yes,
of
okay,
Lucy
sure.
walking out, and you're like, oh, that's
Sure.
horrific. And then
Yeah.
Andy walks out. And to be
Yeah.
fair, Andy does put in a very good comedic performance of just walking out straight, just looking out, very spaced out.
Yeah.
That is funny. You know, a little bit later, Catherine and Ben talk during this scene, separate. And that was
like
good.
that.
You have
I
two
liked
good
that.
actors doing a
That
good
was
job,
good.
and you're not sure what the tension is. You know that they used to be into each
Yeah.
other, but they're kind of on opposite sides now. That's a
Yep.
good tension.
Yeah,
And you're
I like
unsure
that.
if Ben
I
has
like that
turned a leaf
lot.
or not, right? So he's like,
Right,
I'm about this, really. And she's like, I don't believe you. And we're like, I don't know if I believe it
Yeah.
either, but we'll see. That's a
Yeah.
good introduction of tension.
I
That's
liked
very
that.
good.
I liked that. And then I thought the scene was gonna end there, but then the fashion show kept going. I completely forgot that
Yeah.
Catherine and Ben
Yeah.
talked in the
I
middle
think
of
if
that.
the scene
I
ends
completely
there,
forgot.
I think that fashion show actually still works because it has a little bit of a comedy and then introduces this tension elsewhere. And it still actually kind of works.
Yes.
I think the problem with the fashion show isn't that the entire thing sucks. I think the problem is that like it overstays its welcome and there's a lot of parts of it that suck that then, you know, when you're thinking back on it, you're less kind to the initial part that like does have a couple good bits in
Yeah.
it that like you would probably have been like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, that was funny enough. Like it was fine, right? But then it
Yeah,
kept
yeah.
going and it got less and less fine and suddenly the early part of it is no longer fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, just to go
Yeah.
through it for the sake of recap, you know, they go off, have their separate conversation about whether Ben has changed, and then afterwards they reintroduce the Pine Weasel who bites onto Dick's nose, and starts running around. Someone pushes Audrey. John Justice Wheeler catches her, and it's like that forced tension dialed up to 1,000 of like, I don't care. I don't want to watch this. And then they kiss, and then it's like, oh, okay, this is the resolution of their romance. Good. Hopefully it doesn't come up again.
Yeah,
Like-
great.
You said an interesting thing way earlier that does relate to that point. Real quick.
Okay.
That I need to clarify and defend my honor, which is that you said
Okay.
that she had way more tension with Cooper than she does with John Justice Wheeler. And I need
Yeah.
to sit here and say, and I need you to corroborate this. I haven't said anything to you. Okay.
Yes.
That's important.
Yes.
There's a lot of insights you're having to the show that I think people will be like, well, he must have said something behind it. I didn't. I'm giving away a little bit
Yeah.
right now by saying this, but I did need to address it. Yeah, yes, and you're absolutely right. And there's a reason people don't like this romance. So
And like, it's just, I want to clarify, like, yes, Mac has not, like, I'm going into this, I want to reiterate to the listener, I'm going into this completely blind. Like, the episode order that Mac is putting this playlist, if you're binging this podcast, is very out of order, and I know nothing of what led to Cooper and Audrey having that scene at the lodge in his hotel room, and he's about to leave the town. That is the very first interaction I think I've seen between Cooper and Audrey, and my very first time learning that, like, you know, she saved him, you know, now he's leaving town and he's leaving her, kind of deal. And like, that scene sticks out a lot in my head, and like maybe it's the actors, like Audrey's actor and Cooper's actor are very good. And so I really did feel a lot of tension between those two characters. Even though that was the first time that and I think that speaks to the quality of the actors on this show. I think that is like they're doing a really good job of portraying, you know, like the characters. Like I mentioned that about Catherine earlier. Like Catherine's actor, like you can tell there's layers to her character, of layers I have not witnessed yet that I assumed happened earlier in the seasons. And so I think that just speaks to how well done these actors have made with their characters and of the show.
So yeah, no, 100%. I think every character knows every actor knows their character like to the bone, which is what gives it that kind of depth to these otherwise, you know, very soap opera characters, right? So yeah, like absolutely. But you called that from downtown, and I was like, wait, no, I need to put on record that I've only messed up one time, which was the very first episode where I mentioned that Josie had tried to kill her husband, which was revealed the next episode anyways. So like it didn't matter. That was the one time, and since then I feel I've done a very good job of being like, wait. Yes. That's something else, and we'll cut it off there. So yeah, when you said that, I went into a panic spiral of like, okay, I need to remember to clarify that I haven't told you shit. Like you still don't know what's going on. And on that note, so how, now that we've gone through it scene by scene, we're gonna go to the ending wrap up part of it, especially since we're running up to our time limit.
Okay.
Okay, so do you still agree? This one's a little bit weirder. Do you still agree with my listing that like this is where it sits? Is this better than 10? Because so far you thought every episode was better. This may be the first one where you may think that 10 might be better than 17.
I do. Yeah, I'm just looking over my notes of 10 here. Dispute between bros. Wait, what was the title of
yeah,
this
that's
episode?
right. I should tell you what the titles are. This one's Wounds and Scars.
Wounds and Scars.
And remember to send me pictures of the notes. Yes.
Yes, I haven't sent you last episode's notes.
Just go through and send all of them again just to make sure I have them all. I'll edit this part out.
Sure. Sounds good. I do think. Oh my god, I do think that episode. What episode did I really like here?
10 was the last one that was
liked...
really, really good with all the character moments of like speaking out to people.
I do think I like episode 10 more than this one, but that's purely because episode 10 ends off on a better...
No, episode 10 is the one where he disappears and you hated that shit.
Oh yeah, wait, no, I hated that.
Okay.
No, this one's better. Never mind, this one's better. I see that on my notes here. Fishing was the freaking title that I made that note in. Okay, this one's better. This one's better. Even though the Save the Weasel shit kind of annoyed me at the end, like I do think that this one is better. And I think that's purely like my bias of like if I knew better, probably episode 10 would be better. But because I hate that freaking major freaking log lady, the White Lodge bullshit, I think this one is better because that one only shows up twice in this episode. I think that's why. And so, yeah, I would agree with your rating.
Okay, for diametrically opposite reasons. But yes.
Yes.
All right, what do you make of the title of this episode?
Wounds and Scars. That's very much for Harry's line. That's Harry's.
Well, we also saw that the new character Annie cuts herself, or cut herself on her wrist as well. That was one of the major wounds and scars.
Right.
You know, Josie does come back up for Catherine. You know, So there's a few points where it
there's
pops
a few
back
points
up.
of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think you're right.
I
It's
think
definitely mostly about Harry.
Mostly Harry, yeah, I do think that's the case. I think it's a fitting title. More so than episode 10, that's for sure.
Yeah, because that was like one scene in the very beginning.
That was one scene!
Like, remember, these titles came from a German airing of the show, like, later after the show had come out. Like they didn't name them that. But yeah, I do think that they're interesting and see how they fit in. Yeah, so why I rate this one where I do is I think that the comedy in this one works, and I will always be kinder to setup episodes than I think other people will be. Because like
okay.
I can't separate where something is going from where it started, right? And like
okay. Okay.
So like as I've retroactively made this list, I think that like if stuff were to not pay off or whatever, like then I can kind of separate it. But like knowing where things are going and how they pay off and stuff like that, I'm going to be like, all right, you know, this is a setup for XYZ thing. And while that may not make it as strong as the payoffs, I think like from like both the consumer and also like as someone who's invested in doing artistic stuff, like that it's important to recognize and appreciate those things. This episode has a lot of like setting up going on, right?
Yeah, I agree
there's
with
a few
that,
plot lines that are already in motion, but they're gonna kind of morph and change to fit into. And a big reason why this is a big setup episode is because, like, you know, that last episode, there's this huge hiatus where they needed to figure out how they were going to finish the show. Right. And so, like, this is where all of that starts to get put in motion. And so I'm going to be kinder to that kind of thing compared to, you know, coasting off the, you know, I prefer a setup to a denouement, you know? Like obviously the climax is going to be everyone's favorite part, but for me, I would put a setup over a denouement, and that's what the last episode was. And while there was some great stuff there, it was just kind of like the finishing touches of some plot lines. This is like the setting up for the next section. So that's why I rate it where I do. Yeah, but like there is a lot of stuff that really annoys me about this one. Very clearly, I think both of us were very annoyed at certain points of this where we expressed that. I think if you're listening, if you're watching this, you'd be like, wait, why is this so high compared to the other ones? Because we enjoyed the other ones more. I think it's because we're now, I've always been invested, but like, it feels like more and more you're really getting into the show, it feels like. And so now you're like, this is annoying me because it's not doing like what this other stuff set up and doing but like that's a positive. Like getting annoyed about good things means that it's good. You know what I mean? So I think if you just listen to this one in isolation, you'd think like, oh, they like this less than. But I think that's because Jay was excited about Discovery, and now we're kind of in it, you know? And so now it's like, okay, now we know the things to be annoyed by. Now we know the things to... And that's not a bad thing. You know, familiarity is great. Yes.
Yes.
All right.
I agree.
Well, so what do you think is going to happen in the next episode?
I'm going to get a lot of other context, I hope, to like I think it's gonna be more build up of other things that we've already seen, because looking at the list, it's like dab smack in the middle of what we've already watched. Okay.
So probably nothing extraordinarily new, just
nothing extraordinary new. Yeah, exactly. So maybe more character build up of
okay.
Oh man, trying to see, because like we watched episode 10 last, and then,
which is where Dale Cooper got suspended from the FBI.
Right. So maybe we'll see more of that, of like what's going on with Cooper and how he gets back on the police force properly, kind of deal. Maybe we'll see that. So I don't know. I'm hoping. I feel like I'm getting the gist of this like arc. Like I think we mentioned it on a previous podcast episode, but like this is like a bunch where it's like the same kind of arc, but after we leave this bunch of episodes, it's going to be all over the place after
we're about to.
So I'm like I'm worried. I'm a little bit worried. I know we're gonna get more context to things that we've already watched, and so I'm excited for that. Like it's just like the next episode is just going to be seeing more of the characters that I already like or dislike. You know, like it's going to be more of that, and I think that will help me in my head build the world of these characters that I already see. Like reinforce or maybe learn something new of these characters. But that's what I think is going to happen next episode. But like I don't know if we want to get into it, but I'm looking at the list and I'm like worried.
We're about to hit some stuff.
Like,
we're about to hit some stuff. I'm like, oh, okay.
To hit some stuff. I'm not prepared for it yet.
Yeah, we're gonna be in a wildly different area coming up pretty soon, which is actually something I wanted to talk to you about. I think this is building good tension for people to tune in for. I will spoil something that's coming up soon, which is missing pieces.
Oh, okay.
We need to find a time to do that, but I'm going to tell you so you can look at the list. I don't know where I'd want to put it actually in terms of a ranking, because I've only ever seen it with Fire Walk with Me. So instead, I'm inserting it into where I think is the interesting spot.
Okay.
So for you, without saying what it is, I think after episode or after 41.
Oh, okay.
That way it provides zero context for you going into that. And then we can get into some stuff that is absolutely removed from its own context. Okay. So for everyone else, that's two more regular episodes and then missing pieces all of a sudden. The final question that I think this is how I should frame it every time if I can have a good memory. Jay, what is Twin Peaks at this point?
Oh, fuck. You know what? I mentioned it earlier. I think it is an alien murder mystery.
Okay. All right.
There you go.
Not gonna elaborate more on that. So do you think to clarify, do you think it's an alien show and a murder mystery show, or do you think those are tied together somehow?
I think they're separate. I think it's two separate things.
Gotcha.
Show. Yes.
All right. Well, cool.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys next time.
Yeah.